The Yeerks are parasitic species, like tapeworms or lice or certain gym coaches who think you can't play basketball just because you are somewhat not tall. But Yeerks don't crawl on top of your head like lice. They crawl inside your head. A slug, like a big snail, slithers into your ear, oozes into your brain, flattens itself out, sinks into all the cracks in your brain, and from that point on, controls you. Wow, that sounds heavy. Too bad they will not be appearing in this book.
We all know it's called Superbook. It shows us all the places that we want to go and look. Superbook,
Superbook. I knew this day would have to come. Look, I may rib and poke fun at Animorphs, but I truly do love this series and all of its trappings, and it pains me that I have to give this book the thrashing it deserves. I wasn't kidding in my last review. There may be books in this series that aren't that good, and there may be half a dozen serious what the fuck were they thinking moments, but for all of its faults, I can find at least some small thing to latch onto to not make the experience a total and complete waste of time. I can't say that for Megamorphs 2 and the Time of Dinosaurs. I've read this book 4 times. Once originally, a second time years later, thinking that I may not have given it a fair shot, a third time for this review, and I am reading it simultaneously as I write this script. And every single time, it's been hard to work through. I'm serious, I take the Buffahuman, Atlantis, the Helmacrons, Cassie getting possessed by a ghost, irrelevant trips through Australia, Rachel splitting into 2 people. I take all of that over having to read this goddamn dinosaur book again. And up until recently, when I read my comments on my last review, it seemed like I was the only one who felt that way. All the comments before that I read ranged from, it was okay, to, this book is awesome! Well, it's not awesome, and I intend to prove it in every possible way. I'm going to go way more in-depth and nitpicky than usual because, well, I think this book deserves to be hurt back. Let's start at the beginning, namely, the advertising. Unless there's something I'm missing, this was the most promoted book in the Animorphs series, and that's partially understandable. Megamorphs are the big event books, and Animorphs fame was at its peak when Megamorphs number 2 came out. However, the whole concept of the Animorphs running into dinosaurs just reeks of publisher intervention. That Scholastic saw how popular dinosaurs had become after Jurassic Park and how much money its sequel made a year earlier, and wanted to cash in, even if it meant sacrificing a good story to do it. And the sad thing is, from everything I've read, it seemed Kay Applegate was completely on board with it. In one interview, she said the following: "I loved this one. No one else seemed to be as excited about it as I was. But come on, Animorphs versus dinosaurs? That's not great?" I love how she describes it as Animorphs versus dinosaurs, like the book is actually about an alien lord kidnapping the Animorphs and having them fight dinosaurs taken from their time period in a Mortal Kombat-esque tournament. I thought the point of going back to the time of dinosaurs was to morph dinosaurs, not give them pile drivers. There are 2 things we can take from this quote. Either K.A. was really gung-ho for this, or was obligated to say she was for Scholastic. I want to think it's the latter, that Scholastic dumped an impossible project into her lap that resulted in her writing what she wrote, but there's just no way to be sure. So yeah, Megamorphs number 2 was a pretty big deal. I remember walking into Borders and seeing the 5-foot cardboard displays they had up. I also remember this one poster, which I swear is real, even though I can't find a picture of it online, that showed all the Animorphs morphing into different dinosaurs. And for the record, I am going to mispronounce every single dinosaur name, so forgive me. The poster had Marco morphing a Tyrannosaurus, Cassie morphing into a Parasaurolophus, Rachel morphing into a Styracosaurus, and Jake morphing into an Archaeopteryx. The thing is, out of those 4 dinosaurs, only one of them, the Tyrannosaurus, is actually in the book. Actually, now that I think about it, the book doesn't have that much of a variety in dinosaurs at all, and the Animorphs only morph 2 different kinds. If you're going to make a big deal out of having dinosaurs in your book, then you should at least have a dinosaur count equal to Dinotopia. Damn, Dinotopia is a way better book than this. Go read that. This is the only Animorphs book to come in collectible covers. And by collectible, I mean color-tinted! Wow, this one is blue! And this one is red! Mine is piss yellow! Collect all 6! Jesus Christ, is this cheap? And it's not like the cover is in any color is any good. A bunch of eyeballs floating around random animal patterns. It tells you nothing about the book. There's nothing to hook you in. No characters, and even more surprisingly, no dinosaurs. Hell, even the animal patterns have no connection to the plot. Let's see, there's a leopard pattern, and none of the Animorphs have a leopard morph anymore thanks to time travel, and is that a giraffe pattern? When the hell did anyone morph a giraffe? Each of the 6 books had an Animorph mugshot right behind the cover, and they're pretty crappy too. Unfortunately, they're the best character pictures anyone is ever going to get, which is why I keep using them in my reviews. Let's see, we got Jake looking like that tattoo guy who's always in the Guinness Book of World Records. Again, no one has a leopard morph anymore. We got Rachel looking like that blowjob bear from The Shining. Marco has testicles growing off of his face. And Cassie, well, she just looks like a furry. I'm not entirely sure what it is she's morphing here. An otter, I think. Oh, and Tobias and Axe don't get mid-morph images because they're fan favorites and we don't want to be messing up their looks, see? So yeah, to sum up, Scholastic's Crowsbars Dinosaurs into a science fiction war story about teenage guerrilla fighters, advertises it as the greatest thing since sliced bread, makes it collectible in the cheapest way possible, offers shitty art with each book, and puts up posters that flat out lie about the content of the book. This thing is already a shitstorm, and we haven't even started reading the damn thing. So, let's get started. The book opens with Marco learning from a news report on TV that a nuclear submarine has gone down some miles off the coast due to reactor problems. A furious rainstorm has hindered rescue efforts, and there's a chance that the occupants of the sub are getting flooded with deadly radiation. And for some reason, Marco decides that they need to do something about it. Why? Why does Marco, of all people, feel so compelled to try and do something about this? This sub-incident has nothing to do with the Yeerks, and has no obvious effect on any of the Animorphs or any of their loved ones. One of Marco's main motivations is to keep himself alive for the sake of his father, and going headfirst into a dangerous situation that has nothing to do with the Yeerk invasion of Earth, in the middle of a storm no less, seems to be working towards the exact opposite of that. It's not that I don't think Marco wouldn't help in this situation, it's that there's no way he'd be the one to initiate a rescue mission. Marco is the kind of guy to get dragged into this kind of thing, kicking and screaming, not calling everyone else up and being, "Hurry, we have to do something." Every other Animorph would have been a more logical choice than Marco. At first, I thought there was going to be some kind of angle to this, that we were going to learn that Marco has some personal connection to submarines, or he protests nuclear power plants on his spare time or something. But no, he just randomly decides to be a superhero today of all days. And what's more, Marco is about to watch some sporting event with his dad. Now, if you gotta stop a Yeerk plan or something, then you gotta do what you gotta do. But why throw unnecessary suspicion on yourself by leaving a scheduled family event for something that has nothing to do with the Yeerks? So Marco rounds up the other Animorphs, and they all get together at the beach, which is empty due to the storm. Now wait a minute, how did they all get there? They walked there, right? I mean, they didn't morph anything to get there faster because they all have their normal clothes on at this time. Well, that means that Marco, Jake, Rachel, and Cassie all at some point walked out of their house alone in the middle of a serious storm. And every single one of their parents was just okay with this? Not a single parent offered to give them a ride to wherever they were going? I mean, it's not like they all live next to each other. Cassie especially is a bit of a walk away from anyone's house. I'm imagining Cassie putting on her raincoat, telling her parents, "Hey, I'm going to make the 3-mile walk to Rachel's house." And her parents, engrossed in the latest episode of Oprah, just kind of mumble and pay her no mind as she steps out into the storm that sinks submarines. "We'd better get going before someone shows up," Jake said glumly. Jake hates dark, overcast days. It makes him grumpy. Okay.
Hanging around, nothing to do but frown. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down.
So the Animorphs strip to their morphing clothes and dump their regular clothes into a trash can. I really gotta wonder what the clothes bills for these families are like. "Yeah, Mom, I lost a 3rd pair of pants this week. Oh, and if you're going down to the store, could you pick me up another pair of really tight bicycle shorts? Thanks." Anyway, the Animorphs wade out into the ocean and morph dolphin. Think about the happiest day you've ever had in your life. Think about how you feel on a sunny day with no school or no chores, your allowance fresh in your pocket, and some really fun thing awaiting you. That's exactly what it feels like to be a dolphin. Oh, so being a dolphin is a lot like not reading Megamorphs 2. "Is anyone else sucking salt water every time they try to breathe?" Marco asked. "Is that good for you?" "We are in the ocean, Marco," Rachel pointed out. "There's bound to be water in the ocean." "Fine, but do we have to be out here in the middle of a storm?" "Well, I don't know, Marco. You tell us. This was your idea, after all." So the Animorphs make their way to where the rescue team are searching for the sunk sub. But beyond that, the Animorphs have no idea where to look, so they start to systematically search the area through echolocation, finally finding the thing after 20 minutes. Of course, they have no way of getting into it. Damn it! We forgot to bring our blowtorches! So the Animorphs decide the next best thing is to find one of the rescue divers and drag her over to the sub, which is a great way to scare and disorient someone, which in turn is a great way to lose the rest of the rescue party in the middle of a storm. Just how did the Animorphs think they were going to be helpful in this situation again? So they find a diver and drag her over to the site, and she somehow manages to get back to her crew, and they begin transporting the occupants out of the sub. Axe takes a moment to ask about the purpose of these submarines. Jake narrates. "Actually, Axe, it's a military submarine. See the rows of hatches along the back? It's a nuclear missile sub. There's a missile under each of those hatches, armed with a nuclear warhead." "Ah, I see." "It's deterrence, in case the enemy uses nukes on us, we have these safe in our subs," Marco explained. "What enemy?" "Well, okay, we don't exactly have one right now," I said, feeling fairly idiotic.
Go ahead and hate your neighbor. Go ahead and cheat a friend.
No, enough of that crap. The Animorphs realize everyone has suddenly started speeding away from the submarine, and the Animorphs realize they should probably book it. They swim away as fast as they can when... What the fuck?